India has the dubious distinction of what I call the dirty dozen. In the recent study that was there of the 20-odd most polluted cities, we have more than a dozen of them that are the dirtiest. Should this be so? Should we be living in a city where every single one of us sitting here is now vulnerable? Every one or other, if we go and take a test, there is very likelihood of some kind of a chest infection. The global burden of disease study says that air pollution today is the second highest in terms of public health risk. Now, given that context, what are we doing about it? What do we need to do about it? That's what the session is all about. Can we have cleaner air for better living? And I just want to take you through 4 aspects quickly as an introductory frame in such a way that the speakers then can take off from there. Number 1, is it an issue of science? There are experts sitting here. How do you define the source? How do you apportion it in terms of what the source is and how much is there the problem of the source? Is it a question of, are we monitoring it? You measure what matters. What is important you will measure. Are we scientifically and regularly monitoring it? Question number 2. If we are monitoring it, do we have the technology to deal with it? If we don't have, what are we doing to find it? Whether it's end of pipe or at source, what are you going to do about it? So the whole question of science and technology, and we have quite a few academics sitting here who have dealt with this in detail.
The issue here is, but that has been amazing learning for us, because I still remember when we had started 20 years ago, then there was very little science for us to really decide what to do. And at that point of time, the problem had already grown. What is very clear that as it has been a kind of a journey where we have constantly tried to understand the science, to know that what do we need to do? How do we translate that information to inform public opinion, fire up public imagination, and then push for action? And in that, today, when we are all of us still so concerned about that the air quality is still bad in our cities, and you might be asking, so what has happened for 20 years? So should we become pessimists? Should we kind of think about, say that if we are not, and we cannot deal with the problem? And I'll certainly say no, because this experience also tells us that when we are really trying to push the system to deliver, it does take time, but you also see steps taken. And we really have to focus a lot more on the strategies today that are needed and push for the right action to see the change.
If we do something, there is some response, people looking into it, and then try to, at least they're trying to engage us, even academia now. So, we have to talk about a few positives also. The third thing, which is sort of a little bit negative, is that now, as we see there are so many studies all over the world, we sort of link so clearly, and there are so robust studies and so causal association between the pollution and the mortality, this global burden of disease, like they say about 3.2 million people die, all across the world. And then now there's a study from the University of Texas at Austin, which sort of says, they looked at 185 countries and they say, well, the life expectancy decrement is of the order of, let's say, about 2 years, for the decrease in life, and which is one of the highest in India and also in South Asia, which includes Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So we are, as it is in the World Forum also, we have a large issue apart from just talking about Delhi. So even at the national level, this is rather not even a local problem, not even a regional problem. As a nation, we have to handle it.
All too often we think about air pollution as being about being in compliance with standards or not being in compliance with standards. We've got red, yellow, green sort of air quality indices. So there's a lot of technocratic and technical jargon used to describe levels of pollution in the air. And I think it's important sometimes to remember that what we're really talking about is a health problem. So the motivation for reducing air pollution is not per se to hit a standard that we've put in place. It is to reduce health impacts. And there's been a lot of work recently that links the standards we have in terms of the concentration of pollution in the air to an easily digestible concrete measure of impacts on health, so life expectancy. A starting point to having this policy discussion and making it fruitful is to start talking about the pollution of cities, not only in terms of what is the concentration of a particular pollutant of sulfates or particulates in the air, but what that means for how many years of life people in that city are losing.
As per the WHO assessment, more than 90% of the urban population worldwide is exposed to adverse health impacts of air pollution. Air pollution is the second biggest health risk in India after malnutrition. And when we talk about health impacts, apart from morbidity and health impacts, air pollution also impacts productivity in cities. And as George rightly put across, cities are basically heart of any economy, as they benefit from agglomeration and scaling effect. So we've been, CII has been an enabling platform for diverse stakeholders to come together and design based action plans for mitigation of air pollution. And there are different, types of approaches, different types of institutional mechanisms which are required for addressing air pollution at different levels and different scales, which are regional or either at the city scale or at the level of the state. So we have chalked out 4 action plans for clean fuels, clean industry, biomass management, and the 4th one is clean transportation. So as part of these action plans, what we suggested is an extensive list of action points, 70 action points, and we, to best of our knowledge, there is now traction, around 25 of these action points. There is, either there is already is a government scheme or policy, or there are efforts which are ongoing. And one of the, the key outcome of our work was basically formulation of the central scheme for biomass management in the rural parts of Northwest India.